Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Take Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah show, only on Horizon TV.
On the next episode,
na nahi ya mtume yufidu ya kuwa ikiwa mtu atafanya hivyo na amekatazwa, kwa sababu jambo ambalo lililokatazwa na Mwenyezi Mungu na mtume wake haya itakuwa ni jambo lisilo sawa, bali ni haram, kwa sababu ni amri. Wa ma kana limu'minin wala mu'minatin idha qala Allah wa rasuluhu amran an yakuna lahumul khiyara.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
MPs denied US visa over drugs, terrorism links. That's what making the headlines on the Standard. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Faisal Qasim, and being the 16th day of August 2019, welcome to the Sabah show. And I'm standing in for Aisha Khan. And before we go on with the discussion which will be taking place in the next segment, as always, Kamakawa on Friday, the first segment is definitely to go on to go through the dailies, some of the stories making the headlines on our dailies. And on the Standard, to begin with, we are having MPs denied visa over drugs and terrorism links, basically rejection of leaders and some parliamentary staff signals they failed to meet strict criteria that is mostly linked to crime. Of course, this is coming after a crackdown of since last weekend when the Wakali Kwanza, the Mombasa crew went down to raid people in Mombasa, and CS Matiang'i went down personally and pledged to crack down the terrorism, drugs, and crime within not just the Mombasa County, but the country at large. And with me this morning to discuss some of the stories making the headlines, of course, these are people that you've seen on this show before, and you like them, you love them. That's why they're here every morning to help me discuss this. And my immediate left, we have Mr. Munene Mutwiri.
Shukuru.
Karibu sana, brother.
Asante.
Welcome. And of course, the organizing secretary of Movement for Advanced Democracy.
Advancement of Democracy.
Advancement, not advance.
Advancement of Democracy.
Advancement of Democracy.
Yes.
Lovely. Welcome, Mr. Said Korea.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, MPs denied US visa over drug links, and on the back page is bold female referee breaks glass ceiling. This is, of course, historic, where the Super Cup was officiated by a lady. Now, this story that's continuing on page 6, you know, 5 MPs, they were denied visas to the US over drugs and terrorism links. These are leaders that we are looking up to, yet we are reading such things on our dailies. Mr. Munene Mutwiri, what comes to your mind the moment you see a leader is linked to terrorism or drugs or anything whatsoever?
The first thing, if they are elected members of our government, is very shameful and very hurtful. And I think this weighs down to the core and the backbone of our constitution, the Article 6 of our constitution that lays down on integrity.
Talks about integrity, yeah, and any elected leader should pass through the integrity
Yeah, and I think it was unfortunate that Article 6 was watered down in the 8th August House. But for now, I look at the paper as a communication expert and I ask myself, I have said previously, what's missing, what we don't see is what is important there. And I ask myself, what are the names of those people? What are the names of those members of parliament? Because as a citizen, we are entitled to know them. Their constituents have the right to recall them, because if there are links to drug trafficking and murder and crime, they are not worth to be leaders anymore.
At a point, there were leaders who were named in 2010, I suppose. There were leaders who were named in parliament who were linked to terrorism. But again, it raises some hullabaloos everywhere because it was a taboo. Why are you naming my leader, you know? Why are you naming my leader? And later on, it came to be discovered that it was not really true. Anyway, Mr. Said Kuri, just what's your take quite quickly about this this issue, of course.
In fact, you have started by saying that there was a time leaders who involved themselves in drugs were named, but there was outcry on the side of public.
Yes.
Some people say that you are targeting our people.
Thank you.
That shows that the society has rotten to the core. And I was here, and I said here last time that things have fallen apart. We are no longer at peace, and center can no longer hold.
I think we've become subjective more than objective.
Yes, of course. It is not problem with the problem we are seeing with leadership. We can't blame it on society. If society is ready to protect such kind of leaders, what do you expect? And by the way, even in our religion, we say that if we have a bad society, of course we'll have bad leaders. You cannot have a bad society and have good leaders.
So
because leadership is reflection of the society. So that is what has happened.
Okay.
And that is why even the chapter 6 was watered down, because we had strong people who overlooked it. And by the way, they are ready even to incite masses to defend themselves if IBC decides to lock them.
Lovely.
Not to
that is something that we'll be looking into it in details, as we'll be looking into the details. Mr. Munena Muturu, you have the Daily Nation in front of you. So what's making the headlines? Maybe just read for us what's making the headline there.
The headline goes with corridor of disease, Rivathi or Galana or Sabaki, probably whatever. The name changes that it maneuvers along the different parts of the country. And there is a lot of problems emanating from using the river.
Yeah.
The water from the river.
Yes.
And I think it all goes down to the rot that is in our society, and you have watered down the environment, the responsibility that comes with us.
And apparently those 150 billion allocated to look into the issue of that particular region?
Yeah, you'll go down and see there is the Wasonyiro Development Commission or something, the Lake Basin region, and I think there is something associated with this. We had the Nairobi Regeneration Team that was constituted by the president. I think the Honorable CS of Tourism is a chairman,
yes.
Sitting with the governor of Nairobi.
Yeah.
And I think what we do to protect our environment, the only thing we do, we say we are demolishing the building that are in the riparian lands. But at the end of the day, we don't look at a holistic point of it.
Okay.
Where does this pollution come from? You will read in the paper that it's because there are a lot of chemicals and from industry being deposited in the river.
Lovely.
So we don't get the whole composure, I think, in our environment goes back from the homestead. Okay. How do you use your garbage? How do you dispose your garbage? What's the garbage collection aspect of
process,
it?
Yeah.
How is it dumped? How is it recycled? The non-recyclable part, where are they disposed, and that? Because the heavy metals that we'll find in the river, that will end up having produce that have been irrigated with the same water.
Definitely something
and
that we're
end
going
up
look into.
getting
So what's
the
making
diseases in our
exactly?
bodies.
So what's on the back page of the Daily Nation?
The Daily Nation back page talks about schools suffer despite teacher surplus at Teacher Service Commission, and the commission has over 300,000 in its register but cannot employ them for lack of funds.
Exactly. You're advancing democracy, Korea, in your organization. I mean, this is schools suffering despite teachers surplus at TSC. And you see, with coming of the competence-based curriculum, there's going to be need of more teachers. What's your take on that?
It is very unfortunate. We have a dilemma. We have shortage of teachers, yet government doesn't have capacity to employ these teachers. And as we have said, it is not that our country is producing too many graduates. It is government that has not created enough opportunities to absorb these people. Because if we look carefully, we still need these services, but we cannot afford them because there is bad administration. And as we have said, bad leadership has stemmed from the society. It is us who elect these people. They don't care. They don't address what is of priority because they believe it is not important, because they'll be voted on basis of their names, they'll be voted on the basis of their depth of their pockets, they'll be voted on basis of other things, not basis of what they have done for the society. So we cannot even blame them.
So it's nothing to do with the track record and leadership.
Leadership. So why should I bother? Yet we have seen leaders who are visionary. Since independence, we have seen leaders who are visionary. We have seen leaders who wanted this country, of course, to join those developed countries. But public rejected them.
So is the problem the leaders or the citizens?
Of course, there was a time I attended a BBI hearing.
Yeah.
And one person was talking about national ethos. Of course, we have to change our ethos because everyone must play part in making a society.
Where does it start?
It starts with us.
Thank you.
It starts with everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. We're going to look more into that. So you have the Star in front of you, the Star newspaper. So what's making the headline on our Star, Mr. Korea?
CCTV cameras to soon watch all public places. Ministry of Interior, headed by CS Fred Matiang'i,
Yes.
owns the cameras connected to a national center where data can easily be accessed.
Maybe just read a part of what's happening there, the underlining one.
The underline, there's no one, maybe it is on page 4.
No, just still on the cover page, still on the cover page of this.
On the cover page?
Yeah,
They have not.
That's that, huh?
Yes, that is all.
Oh, okay. So Ministry of Interior, so basically what this policy is advocating for is that all the CCTV cameras basically to be linked to the state where they can access the information and the movement
of course,
of the citizens. So
it is important. CCTV cameras are important.
Yes.
And we saw even with what happened, maybe a Dusit, of course, people could trace what actually happened.
Yeah.
But, of course, even with CCTV cameras, as I have said before, because these things interconnect, as I have said before, everyone must have responsibility. Everyone must feel that I'm not doing this because I'm watched. Because maybe if intention is to do that, then it is dead on arrival. Because people will devise ways, of course, to escape the...
Maybe just to improve on security, to beef up security.
But to improve on security, it is okay. Of course, they can improve on security because we have even external threats.
Where do you draw the line of privacy?
But that's why I was going, Faisal, because at the end of the day, I think this weighs down on the information that the government is collecting from us.
And it's infringing on privacy.
I think it will be infringing on privacy when they say all CCTV cameras will be connected to the state. Because what if I have private CCTV in my private property? Will I be required to connect that to the state? Because at the end of the day, it's my private property. I might be engaging in private matters on my own, and I don't want the state to know what I'm doing. It might be it's not illegal, but I don't want it
Why
to
would
be
you
out there
not want the state to know? Are you doing something illegal, something that the state maybe will put you into problem with the state?
No, at the end of the day, it ends up being, where do you draw the line between, when you say you want your privacy, doesn't mean you want something illegal. When you're building a fence around your home, it doesn't say you're doing illegal things there. You just need your own security for your kids, security
what I think
for
they
your
be
own
put
self.
in public places. But
Yes.
what, of course, I know why Muturi is skeptical, because the state has not shown good intentions. In the past, if you look at the history, the state has, we cannot say it it usually have good intentions when installing such things.
Exactly.
And I think we will say there's no policy to guide on how the information collected will be used. How maybe Mr. Kuria might be framed in something
precisely.
So what's the policy framework on that?
Definitely something that we're going to talk about. And of course, in taifa leo KDF wateka mtaa Mombasa. That is a story that was discussed yesterday. And on the back page you have Onyo. La Reds, and the Reds, after winning the Super Cup, they're giving people a warning. And of course, on Business Daily, you have 1 in 5 Kenyans trapped by bank loans. That's what's making the headlines. And on the back page you have here is how to revive wilting local corporate debt market. That's the story you're going to read about the moment you purchase your local daily. And on PDP, we have Raila keeps key allies guessing over 2022. And last but not least, on our Friday bulletin cover page, Muslims celebrate Eid al-Adha, the feast of sacrifice. We're going to look into more stories, of course, in our dailies after this very short break. So please don't go away.
Horizontv, the beacon for the nation. On the next episode,
wamkalishe fayakulani, ndio waseme man rabbuka, haye mola wako mlezi ni nani. Fayaqul, kwa sababu ni an-nafsu tayyiba, ni an-nafsu al-mutma'inna, rabbi Allah, mola wangu mlezi ni Allah. Fayakulani lahu, waseme kumwambia ma dinuka, dini yako. Fayaqulu dini al-islam, dini yangu ni Uislamu. Fayakulani, waseme ma hadha ar-rajulu alladhi bu'itha fikum, ni mwanamume gani huwa alotumwa kwenu, huyu mtu alotumwa kwenu ni nani? Fayaqulu, aseme huwa rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
on the next episode.
The singing, it brings them together, and develop some unity within them.
Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike.
You remove the sweater.
So, kuna umuhimu gani wa kuweza kuondoa sweater, mwalimu?
We remove the sweater to ensure that the person is not overcrowded, to ensure he has enough oxygen and prevent any heat.
On the next episode.
Kuna wale ambao kwamba katika maeneo fulani, mimi nishaenda ziara mwenyewe, wao ndio wanajilinganisha na ukoo wa Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, ndio wanafaa wawe zaidi, wawe na tekeleza sunna zaidi kwa Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam zaidi yetu sisi. Wao wenyewe ukienda katika makaburi zao, minara imewekwa fence, wamewekea mpaka kivuli kabisa, asipigwe na jua akiwa ndani ya kaburi yake. Wallahi ndugu yangu, unapokufa hamna lolote ili kusaidie Sheikh. Hata kaburi inuliwe juu kaa KICC, kama ulikuwa mbovu utaadhibiwa Sheikh.
Angalia Uislamu ulipoanza ulianzaje? Ulianza kwa istidraj, ulianza kwa polepole. Wewe Adam alayhi salam, si umeonyeshwa kwamba ni bora kuliko malaika? Hawa malaika wamekusujudia wewe, kwa hivyo hata ukiwa malakaini ni jambo kubwa kwa hakika, na wao wamekusujudia wewe. Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala anasema, wala talbisul haqqa, musichanganye haki au kweli bilbatili, na uongo. Katika tembo kuna dhambi nyingi na faida kidogo. Ukiwa wewe unasoma Qur'ani, ni uzuri utizame katika msahafu, ufikirie yale unayoyasoma.
Qur'ani kitabu changu, Qur'ani mwongozo wangu, Qur'ani mwombezi wangu, Qur'ani pumbao langu, Qur'ani kitabu changu, Qur'ani mwongozo wangu, Qur'ani mwombezi wangu.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. We are still talking about the newspapers and some of the stories making the headlines. And of course, we went through the headlines in our previous segment. Now, going directly to People's Daily, Raila keeps key allies guessing over 2022. This is someone that, and the article goes on saying, at first it appeared the ODM leader would retire after the 2017 polls, but the wily politician seems to have a new lease of life after the handshake with His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta. Again, this is someone that we saw for a very long time from our grandfathers or fathers, and now still we are reading about him. We are seeing him in the national politics scenery. And again, he hasn't declared his stand on the 2022 politics, just keeps allies guessing on what is probably going to be the next stage. Mr. Munena Mutiri, what do you say about that?
I'll say, at one point, the issue of 2022, people discuss it on what is convenient on which side of the table they are on. Because where people will be like, let's not discuss the issue of 2022, let's concentrate on development or what is important for this country.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they'll start telling the national leaders what your stand, where will you be in 2022, what will you not be. So because we are on the issue, and let's comment on 2022, I don't think Raila is giving anyone any allies, his allies, giving them time to guess where he will be or where he won't be. Of course, he will be there. Either he will be actively or not inactively in politics. At the end of the day, not like Raila will not take the stand. Whatever he will be, he has his followers, they will follow him there.
Okay, so Mr. Kuri, what do you think is the likely move of the Premier, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga? What do you think is his likely move?
I believe the former Prime Minister will be in the ballot, or will, of course, play a very active role. Not by supporting anyone. He'll be participant in 2022 elections. And that one, I believe, is very likely to happen.
We have two of his deputy party leaders, that is the Mombasa governor, His Excellency Hassan Ali Joho, and the Kakamega governor, Mr. Wycliffe Oparanya, who have both declared interest in the top seat of the country. So, I mean, don't you think it would be best maybe for him to endorse either of the two? To bring in fresh blood into
If you look at his now brand of politics, he has created new friends. You remember they were not friends with Uhuru Kenyatta in the last elections, or in the last two elections. In fact, he was his main rival. But now they are together. And of course, you don't need to be a rocket scientist, or you don't need to have a PhD in political science to know that Raila Odinga are working together with Uhuru Kenyatta to create a formidable political alliance.
Okay.
And you can see they are isolating. The deputy president who are with Uhuru now has started being isolated because, of course, he had a ambition to become the president come 2022. So now we have two groups. We have a group, and I tell you, I support what Adendwale said, that
exactly
we'll have a group
but the majority leader, is seriously contesting that, saying that the party leader and the deputy party leader are solid together.
That is for convenience. Of course, he doesn't want to be seen antagonizing or creating the rift between the two. But you can see, you don't need to have a PhD in political science. You can see they are not together. Because if you look carefully, even the families from Kenyatta's side have been said that they are visiting former Prime Minister.
Exactly.
And of course, I believe they are political visits. It is not for development. Because they never used to visit him when he was in position, and he was still the same Odinga.
So
I believe these visits are meant to gear for a formidable political alliance, and I believe even the BBI thing, which of course we'll talk about, is meant to create posts so that it can accommodate the position of the deputy, the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, and to create even the position of the President, who is retiring and whom seems he doesn't want to retire. And you know, politicians are selfish. I believe he has the intention to continue even beyond 2022. He'll want to hear that. And of course, we have seen even some politicians talking about it. We have seen Sonko saying that Uhuru Kenyatta is young to retire. Those are no things to be wished away. Those are things that are meant to prepare public for Uhuru Kenyatta maybe going beyond 2022.
We look more into that. I mean, and something that you said about envoys visiting the premier in his Capitol Hill. The story is being complemented on the Standard page 3, if you can have that. Raila hosts Kenyatta Moi Kim at his office. Say opposition leader Raila Amolo Odinga has met with two prominent relatives of the Kenyatta and Moi families, stoking speculations about his political game. Of course, this is something that the handshake has given him a new a rebrand, a new life in politics. So do you think that was strategic, particularly for that, the handshake, or it was for the national interest, as they were saying?
I'll say when you deal with the Kenyatta family and the Odinga family, it's very difficult to differentiate between the family aspect as relation to the state and the state to the politics between the two families. I'll say this, that wherever the Kenyatta family and the Odinga family have been in peace, this country has prospered. That's the only time this country has prospered. I'll go back to when we got independence. It's because of between the Mr. Odinga, the father, and Kenyatta, the father of the current president. That's when this country prospered. That because we will see what happened in the last elections when the Kenyatta family and the Odinga family are not together. So I think it's in the interest of their family, their family legacy, that they want to bring about peace amongst themselves. If their businesses prosper, if they prosper as a family, this country will eventually prosper.
Peace amongst themselves or peace amongst Kenyans?
Peace amongst themselves translates to peace amongst Kenyans. Before the 9th handshake of March, everybody was was almost going up in arms against anyone. When the two families are at peace, the country is at peace. And I think at the end of the day, there is a very thin line between the state and the Kenyatta and the Odinga family. So I think for the benefit of this country, we have tried a lot of things and a lot of ways. I think if they want to bring about peace, and if they will stay in power and the country will be peaceful, I have no problem with that.
Are you telling us that without the two political dynasties, then Kenya is not going to be peaceful?
That is what I wanted. Of course, I want to.
Do you mean that?
Yes.
I want to tell.
So without the two political dynasties, the country is not going to be peaceful?
Let me put it in a bigger perspective of this.
Briefly, please.
Yes, briefly. Kenyatta family has a lot of influence in the Mount Kenya region. And let's say that in the central region of it. The Odinga family has a lot of influence in the Western Nyanza region, and the so-called minority tribes in the country. So at the end of the day, if they are fighting, we are fighting. If we like it or we don't like it, as I said, there is a very thin line between the state and between the Kenyatta and the Odinga family. No peace between the families, the two families, no peace among us Kenyans.
It's something interesting that after the 9th March handshake, they came with the 9 pillars of Building Bridges initiative. And it's a story that's on page 5 of the Daily Nation. Mr. Munene, if you can open for us. The Building Bridges initiative. After collecting views from Kenyans in all those counties, they finally went on a retreat to prepare a report. So what do you think about the BBI initiative?
BBI, I've attended several hearings of BBI, and I tell you the truth that BBI has a predetermined agenda. And as I had said, that they want to create positions to accommodate a particular political alliance that is, of course, is in the offing. And of course, I won't miss words. It is a political alliance between Kenyatas and Odingas. And as my friend has said that, of course, we have encountered problems when these two families go apart.
Okay.
But you should also understand that why do we encounter these problems? Because of our ethnic nature of politics.
Okay,
these people mobilize along ethnic lines. And by the way, to dispel, I want to dispel his.
Okay.
I want to dispel his.
Briefly, please, briefly.
What he said that, of course, that they are indispensable. They are not indispensable.
We are making them indispensable.
In 2002, Kenyatta, the Uhuru Kenyatta died. And in Central Kenya, Kibaki was voted by more people than Kenyatta. So it doesn't mean that we are held hostage by these two people. Of course, we have seen in the past that people can work without these people.
So what's the criteria that was used to select people who are making the presentations on the BBI initiative?
Of course,
just briefly before you need to go for
I have told that I am not talking of something that I have not seen. I attended the hearings. And the people who are presenting were old men. In fact, I did not see any young man who was contributing to this. Yes.
Dispel first. I will dispel that. It's not a young man.
Listen. Let me finish first. Let me finish.
Yes.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Of course,
yes.
Young people are given to say what they want.
Okay.
But the people who are challenging them with questions, or who are even telling them, who are asking them questions, were old men. So these people, and they are the same.
There was lack of representation.
Yes,
of the young
of course. And even in some areas,
I will dispel this.
Very quickly.
As a youth of this republic,
yes,
I'll say if you put out proposals on how to govern the country, of course the old guard will have questions about that. And I've said we have seen what happened during the 2013 election. We said tupatie government kwa vijana. What has those vijana done? We are standing at a country at 6 trillion in debt.
And you're the one who said that the country cannot do without the dynasties.
Yes, the country.
On the contrary, you're saying that vijana has taken us in a 6 trillion debt.
Yes.
We're going to talk about more about after the break. We have to go to a very short break.
I think Mutweri is working on what President Kenyatta said. Of course,
would you mind holding on that thought, Stafadali? Would you mind holding on that thought? Because on Facebook we're having Mohammed Ado Sensei, Horizontv, good job. Mariam Twalib is watching. Thank you so much. On YouTube we're having Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To particular Star Times, definitely you'll get us on Star Times. Thank you so much. Come on, keep them coming on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and of course don't forget YouTube. 22951 is our SMS line. We are going to be back after the break. Don't go away, please.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. On the next episode,
wamkalishe fayakulani, ndio waseme man rabbuka, haye mola wako mlezi ni nani. Fayaqul, kwa sababu ni an-nafsu tayyiba, ni an-nafsu al-mutma'inna, rabbi Allah, mola wangu mlezi ni Allah. Fayakulani la, waseme kumwambia ma dinuka, dini yako. Fayaqulu dini al-islam, dini yangu ni Uislamu. Fayakulani, waseme ma hadha ar-rajulu alladhi bu'itha fikum, ni mwanamume gani huwa alotumwa kwenu, huyu mtu alotumwa kwenu ni nani? Fayaqulu, aseme huwa rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Angalia Uislamu ulipoanza ulianzaje? Ulianza kwa istidraj, ulianza kwa polepole. Wewe Adam alayhi salam, si umeonyeshwa kwamba ni bora kuliko malaika? Hawa malaika wamekusujudia wewe. Kwa hivyo hata ukiwa malaikaini ni jambo kubwa kwa hakika, na wao wamekusujudia wewe. Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala anasema wala talbisul haqqa, musichanganye haki au kweli bilbatili, na uongo. Katika tembo kuna dhambi nyingi na faida kidogo. Ukiwa wewe unasoma Qur'ani, ni uzuri utizame katika msahafu, ufikirie yale unayoyasoma.
Qur'ani kitabu changu, Qur'ani mwongozo wangu, Qur'ani mwombezi wangu, Qur'ani pumbao langu, Qur'ani kitabu changu, Qur'ani Qur'ani mwongozo wangu, Qur'ani mwombezi wangu.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Thanks so much and welcome to the third and unfortunately the last segment of the newspaper review. Remember, we still have the second part of the Sabah show, that is the round table, where we'll be discussing about the roles of parenting. Don't say deadbeat parents, the roles of parenting. We were talking about the newspaper review and I held you on your thought. BBI.
Of course, I was telling Muturi,
yeah,
these dynasties, of course, they are the people who control everything in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So
From
you can't
economy,
wish them
listen,
away.
I'm not wishing them
So
away.
you can't wish
Listen,
them away.
They have done what we call state capture. And what it means, even they control information. So they have created a perception that we cannot do without them. It is not true, we can do without
perception.
them. Yes, it is a perception.
Thank you.
And politics is about perception. They have even created a perception that young people cannot do these things. Because, of course, most of them are approaching 70s, 80s. They, of course, some of them are even approaching grave.
Okay.
So what we are trying to say, we can do this country. No one is indispensable in this country.
Yes.
We can have new people who can run this country. And of course, by the way, this country has not been run the way we would have wanted it to be run. Since independence, we have experienced so many problems. So we can even attribute them to them. So
okay,
we need a change.
Okay,
yes,
lovely. That's good enough. Deputy President, whose bromance with the President was seen to be all over, it could be felt across the country. And after the handshake, you're saying that things changed. And the Deputy President, who was allegedly, I repeat, against the handshake, recently came out, said that he supports the handshake, and he also supports constitutional review, the allies, that is, but it should focus on representation and the Monanchi.
When I hear those sentiments that the Deputy President says they should focus on representation and Mwananchi, that's what the Building Bridges initiative, I think they are trying to accomplish. When you look at the pillars that they are saying, there is the inclusion in the nation, the headlines they will be talking about. They talk about structure of the executive and whether there is a need for a prime minister, devolution, the electoral commission, addressing ethnic antagonism. So it's naive of him to go about building bridges. It's not for the benefit of everybody. Building bridges is for the benefit of every Kenyan. And the only thing that is, I'll call the Deputy President a person who wants the center of attention to be on its side. And I will say this again, that there is
it really him who wants, or it's the
it's him who wants?
Citizen
I will say this, that the Deputy President is fighting a losing battle. He created a political tsunami as a center of it, and he is losing it. I'll say this, that the Deputy President is a small pawn in a bigger tank full of bigger sharks, and he's just a small pawn.
Fish in a big pond.
Yes, saying on that, there is also the saying that says, when the dog attacks the owner puts it down. Deputy President was brought in the national limelight by when he was in ODM in the Pentagon, the infamous Pentagon of ODM in 2007, and then when he joined Mr. Kenyatta, him as a person, he is just the former MP for Eldoret North. That's all. He is nothing else.
Faisal Muturi is talking with bravado that the dynasties talk with, of course. They believe they own this country. They can do anything with this country. They can use anyone and dump him. And that is what they have done with the Deputy President. He has
done that.
But the
president has not come out
I don't
outrightly, squarely, to say that. These are
I don't know,
things
but it is with what is happening in the political scene. That
but
is what it seems. And by the way, Motweri, it seems.
The only thing we've seen is just from the team of Kieleweke coming out. But again, the president himself has never said something.
He has never said, yes. But it seems they have dumped him. That is why he is working like an isolated man. Of course, in politics, you can tell. You don't need a PhD in political science to know that.
Again,
and Motweri, listen, Motweri, I want to rephrase what Motweri has just said. He has said that he was brought into national limelight by Raila Odinga. Don't say that. He was used in 2007 by Raila Odinga. Then in 2013, he was used by Uhuru Kenyatta or Kenyatta family, whatever you may want to call it. So these people use and dump. They believe that people are means to what they want. And they even believe, that is how they even treat the public with disdain. They believe that they can use public, they pass a referendum, they use people to pass a referendum, then they create positions for themselves. And that is why Deputy President is opposing. Deputy President is saying that we need change of laws, but we should not change laws to benefit few people. And by the way, we don't have shortage of laws in this country. Mutwiri had just said that we have integrity chapter, which was overlooked. So it means if even we come with a very progressive laws and we won't change the mindset of the society, that won't help.
Then you're still doomed.
Yes, we are still doomed. And that is what Mutwiri can't say. Mutwiri is talking with bravado. I think he is acting like a spokesperson of the dynasties.
Of the dynasties. Yes. I have to respond to that briefly because
please briefly.
You know, my talk is followed by the reality that is on the ground. I just don't say out of emotion. As I said, with the problems that we have in this country are associated with the two families. If they want to correct the wrongs that they did, yes. I think let us give them an opportunity. Because as I said,
they put us
between
in this.
them is peace among us.
Just let it be peace among us.
They put us in problems. They want to remove us from the
why should we give them an opportunity?
One thing.
And you have given them an opportunity.
Over the years, over the past 2-3 years, Kenyans online have been pushing the Makueni governor, Professor Kivutha Kibwana, to vie for presidency. That is something that he still kept his cards close to his chest. He didn't say it because he's afraid you might push him and fail him the last minute. Finally, he has declared. What do you think about his candidature?
I better talk about the candidature of Makueni senator than talk about candidature of Kenyatta's and Odinga's. Because I believe Makueni senators. Listen, I believe...
Professor.
Yes, I believe the professor, the Professor Makueni governor, sorry. Yes. I believe the Professor Governor, at least he is a new person who will bring political hygiene into the politics of this country. Nothing has changed with these political dynasties. They have been at helm since independence. They have been controlling all levels of the economy. They have been controlling almost everything, and they have not seen the improvement of people's lives in this country. So I better discuss the Makueni senator. And I believe, I want to tell Mutwiri, things are changing. People may even go for people like Makueni governor.
Yes.
Because people have become, even Punguza Mizigo. By the way, Sifuna talked with disdain about Punguza Mizigo. He was very sarcastic about Punguza Mizigo. But now Punguza Mizigo managed to collect 1 million and something signatures, and they are on their way to push for a referendum. So we cannot dismiss.
There is a court case that barred them from continuing popularizing that in the counties.
It was decided.
No, it's still not. They're still barred from deciding, from popularizing that.
To respond to what my friend...
Gentlemen, Muturi, just a parting shot on to culminate this whole discussion because of time.
I'll say what you're saying about the governor Makueni, I really admire him as a governor. But in the face of, we need, the problems in this country comes from the presidency, from the executive. If we are able to solve that, I think the problems will come to an end. Let's have a broader executive where the powers will be trickled down. Bwana Kivutha will excel as a CS. We have people like Matiang'i. Because he is excelling as a CS, we can't say, now let him be the president. He won't excel there. He doesn't portray a national image. In 2022, we'll have, in my view, the Kenyatta family will be there. Odinga family will be there. Kivuna will be a super cabinet secretary, and this country will move forward.
Thank you. Gentlemen, as you can see, I'm already packing my things. Could a parting shot, please?
If Mutweri has already his president and deputy
president
and
even
prime
started
minister,
putting his cabinet
of course,
together.
through the BBI. Of course, through the BBI.
Yes.
And I believe we don't have positions that were created for some people. These positions are created for Kenyans. And any Kenyan can serve in any capacity. Yes. And I believe Makueni governor has a vision to become the president of this country. He has capacity to become the president of this country. If he has run his county well, why can't he run this country well? And the dissident, the despice, these people who support dynasties may end soon because people are changing. In fact, where I come from, even dynasties are still grappling with the idea of popularizing handshake. They have not gone to Mount Kenya to popularize handshake because they fear. They fear people may tell them.
The ground is revolting.
The ground is revolting against handshake. So I believe no one has bad right to say that I can become the president.
Lovely. And my goodness, guys, have you seen? I've already collected and packed my stuff, and that's how I'll be leaving, of course, the set. Gentlemen, thank you so much once again. That's the camera you're using right now. Thanks so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, it was so hot that we have to get tea to cool it off. And I've been your host on this first segment. Remember, don't you go away. This is the Sabah Show. We'll be back with parenting roles after the break. Let's go, gentlemen.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Take Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
On the next episode,
the singing, it brings them together, and develops some unity within them.
Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike.
You remove the sweater.
So, kuna umuhimu gani wa kuweza kuondoa sweater, mwalimu?
We remove the sweater to ensure that the person is not overcrowded, to ensure he has enough oxygen and prevent any heat.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Chilea utapata mwana si wako. Kwa majina ni Muhammad Obura na hii ni Sabah Show.
Assalamu alaikum. Who annoys you most? How do we be around annoying people that we have to be? This is a really important question for me. And I remember being at a development course where I saw this guy who was so laid back and he was so chilled out. I mean, the way he spoke, the way he walked, the way he did everything. So I thought, you know what? This guy knows. So I went to him and I said, you seem like a great, calm, chilled out person. Can you tell me, how do you stay like that when you're around annoying people? So he said something which was very profound for me. He said, I just remember that however they're behaving is about them and not me. Now I had to think about this for a second, but I realized he was absolutely right. Most of the time, when people are annoying us, it's because they're behaving in a way we believe they shouldn't. And subconsciously, we believe that it's related to us or it's our fault in some way. This, of course, isn't true, because however someone chooses to react is down to them and the choices they make. So let's take an example. Imagine that I came to you and I verbally attacked you and I abused you. How are you going to feel? You're going to feel bad, right? What if a few minutes later I come back to you and I say, listen, everything I just said to you, it's all about me. It's got nothing to do with you. It's because of the stuff that's going on in my life right now. How do you feel? Better, right? You feel better even though I didn't apologize. Why? Because I've told you that it's not your fault. So the way to be around annoying people is to remember that their behavior has nothing to do with you. Now, one last question before I go. If you think I'm annoying, who is that about? You, right? So the real question is, who is the annoying person? Jazakallah khair for watching. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. This is Muhammad from Muslim Mastery, and today I'm going to be sharing with you 7 tips to discipline your inner self. Tip 1. Seek refuge from shaitan. As soon as you get a negative thought about someone, realize that shaitan is playing with your mind. Don't let him win, and instead ask Allah to protect you from him. Tip 2. Focus on the facts. When something happens that you don't understand or like, identify the facts that a fly on the wall would have seen. By taking a cold, hard look at the facts, you'll see that the situation is a lot less dramatic than you originally thought. Tip 3. Analyze your interpretation. How are you interpreting the facts? This is usually what is triggering your negative emotions. Accept that you've added this interpretation yourself and that you can choose to have an empowering interpretation instead. Tip 4. Don't make people into villains. As difficult as it may feel, let go of the idea that someone else in your situation is the enemy who is out to get you. Stop making others wrong and yourself right. Tip 5. Avoid playing the victim. By choosing to put yourself into the role of the innocent victim, you're avoiding taking responsibility for your situation. Instead, be proactive and look at what you can do to make the situation better. Tip 6. Make excuses for others. The Sunnah encourages us to think good of others and make excuses for them whenever possible. In fact, Umar radiallahu anhu said, do not think badly of a word uttered by your brother when you can find a good interpretation for it. Tip 7. Take responsibility for yourself. Allah has given you free will, so no matter how difficult any situation may feel, it's entirely up to you how you choose to react. Remember that the test of life is not what happens to you, but whether you deal with it in a way that is pleasing to Allah. May Allah give me and you the tawfiq to implement these tips. Jazakallah khair for watching.
On the next episode.
Kuna wale ambao kwamba katika maeneo fulani, mimi nishaenda ziara mwenyewe, wao ndio wanajilinganisha na ukoo wa Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, ndio wanafaa wawe zaidi, wawe na tekeleza sunna zaidi kwa Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam zaidi yetu sisi. Wao wenyewe ukienda katika makaburi zao, minara imewekwa fence, wamewekea mpaka kivuli kabisa, asipigwe na jua akiwa ndani ya kaburi yake. Wallahi ndugu yangu, unapokufa hamna lolote ili kusaidie Sheikh. Hata kaburi inuliwe juu kaa KICC, kama ulikuwa mbovu utaadhibiwa Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum. I want to share a story with you today. It's about a man who was talking so passionately and deeply to a group of men that people who were passing by were looking at him and wondering what he was doing. So one of them stopped and said, "What are you doing?" The man said, "I'm trying to get people to befriend Allah." How's it going, they asked. He said, Allah is willing, but they're not willing. After some time, they saw the same man in a graveyard. Again, they asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm still trying to make the people befriend Allah. How's it going, they asked. He said, now the people are willing, but Allah is not willing. This story is a great example about how important it is for us to seek forgiveness from Allah. Because right now, Allah is waiting for you and me to ask Him for forgiveness. And there are 900,000 people who were alive this time yesterday, but died and don't have that opportunity. And they would give their whole life and wealth and everything they own to come back to the situation you're in right now, just to ask Allah to forgive you. So for that reason, today I want to focus on forgiveness. You know, the difference between a good person and a bad person isn't that they don't commit sins. The good person is the one that as soon as he commits a sin, he runs back to Allah because he realizes there's nowhere else to go. I've done this wrong, I've done this sin. The only hope is that I go back to Allah and Allah will forgive me. And the guarantee is Allah will forgive us. So we need to build this habit of going back to Allah and asking Him to forgive us. Whereas in the case of the person that's bad, he will commit sin, and he will commit sin, and he will commit sin, and he'll just go through his life and he'll carry all those sins until he gets in front of Allah. So for us, we need to build this habit of asking Allah to forgive us. And the way we can do that is actually just by thinking about the things that we've done wrong. Thinking about the things that Allah wouldn't be happy about. Thinking about the things that we're doing right now, and then speaking to Allah directly in our hearts and saying, oh Allah, I did this thing, it was wrong, forgive me. And if you do that, Allah will forgive you, no doubt. Allah will forgive you. So we need to build this habit. And the great thing about this is that no one needs to know you're doing it. But the truth is, when we do something bad, we know the guilt we feel. We know it's wrong. So rather than just holding that feeling, go back to Allah and ask Allah to forgive you. And this is the month of mercy. This is the month of forgiveness. And if you do that now, I promise you Allah will forgive you as long as you're sincere, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Tech Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah show, only on Horizon TV.
Walk with us as we tell you the stories of our society.
Ili kuweza kukuelimisha, kukuburudisha na kukubumbuisha.
Words have been said, but now it is time to lay the foundation that will impact the world.
Terrorism is terrorism, no matter who is behind the trigger.
Lengo la kuwazungumzia wale ambao Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala amewachagua kuwaongoza walimwengu ni ili sisi pia tufaidike kwa mazingatio na masomo. Je, idadi ya manabii wa Allah ni ngapi? Miongoni mwa hao manabii 315 peke yake ndio ambao walikuwa ni mitume. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ametaja manabii na mitume 25 kwa nini? Peace be upon them.
Horizontv, the beacon for the nation. On the next episode,
wamkalishe fayakulani, ndio waseme man rabbuka, haye mola wako mlezi ni nani. Fayaqul, kwa sababu ni an-nafsu tayyiba, ni an-nafsu al-mutma'inna, rabbi Allah, mola wangu mlezi ni Allah. Fayakulani la, waseme kumwambia ma dinuka, dini yako. Fayaqulu dini al-islam, dini yangu ni uislamu. Fayakulani, waseme ma hadha ar-rajulu alladhi bu'itha fikum, ni mwanamume gani huwa alotumwa kwenu, huyu mtu alotumwa kwenu ni nani.
Article 53 of the Constitution states a child has a right to parental care and protection, which includes equal responsibility for the mother and father to provide for the child, whether they are married or not. Anyone can sire, but it takes a man to raise a child. So they say. Last week, after a program aired on national television, it raised concern over negligence for as far as parenting is concerned. It raised the whole topic. Where did we lose it for as far as parenting roles are concerned? Is it enough for a man just to pay the bills, talk of school fees, hospital bills, house rent, clothes, whatsoever? Is it enough for him to be called a parent? What more is required? Same as the mothers, because every time we're talking about negligence in parenting, often than not, we point the fingers to the fathers. What about the mothers? Anyway, we'll be talking about parenting roles in this second segment of the Sabah show, the roundtable discussion. Still stepping in for Aisha Khan. And my name is Faisal Qasim. Joining me in this panel to discuss about the topic, on my immediate left, we have Mr. John Miruri, who's the director of Action for Children in Conflict. Yeah. Apologies for that. Mr. John Miruri, thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Faisal.
Next to him, we have Sheikh Ratib, who's the Dawah officer at Jamia Mosque. Sheikh Ratib. And last but not least, the best among us, we have Ms. Jamila Wahome. Welcome, panelists. Starting with you, Dr. Jamila, Ms. Jamila, being a psychologist dealing, I'm sure you've witnessed a lot of such cases. And of course, sharing, coming from the previous generation and transitioning into the 21st century, I'm sure you've seen both of each life. What do you think is the problem until we got ourselves into the situation that we are in currently?
Okay, thank you for having me in this program. In my experience, like you ask, coming from the older generation, transitioning to the 21st century, there are a few factors that we need to consider. First and foremost, our boy child. Where did we leave our boy child? Today, where is our boy child? Because if you remember, maybe some of us were a bit young, in the 80s and in the 90s, we dwelt so much on the girl child. We almost like forgot the boy child. Okay. So now the boy child is an adult, and this is now what we're dealing with. So the girl child has moved ahead, been educated, and the boy child has been left. Now coming to the 21st century, a lot has happened from the older generation to the new generation. Okay. Things have changed. The girl child has taken the good jobs. The boy child is still struggling. And here we are. The parental roles have not changed. They're not going to be reversed, even if the girl child has a better job. The mother and the father and the children, which is the definition of a basic unit of society, which is a family, still remains. Now, the head of the family still remains the man. But what happens when we find that the girl child, who is now an adult, has the resources, and the man, who was the boy child, doesn't have the resources? That's where we are at today.
So negligence of the boy child has led to this problem of empowerment of the girl child, and the boy child being forgotten about has led to this problem.
Almost.
Thank you. Maybe Sheikh Ratib, I bring you in. What are the parenting roles in Islam? What are the guidelines set by the religion for as far as parenting is concerned?
according to Islam, you see both parents, they are responsible towards this child. To start off, the mother shouldn't be left out, because you are told that al-ummu madrasatun, the mother is the foundation and the basis of each and every family. So number one, this mother, she has to be empowered. She has to look over. She has to look after the children by educating them, by teaching them good morals. Equally, the father is also responsible. So both they are responsible. The Prophet says that we are all responsible, and we have been given responsibilities. And for these responsibilities, among them is not just to pay the bills. For you, the father, you have to be there to offer your emotional support. You have to be like a role model to this young one.
Assuming that the parents have separated and they are co-parenting, so how in that case are you supposed to offer the emotional support to this kid?
Okay, for whatever reason that may lead to the separation, I'll start from one side. If, for example, the two were not married, you see, this does not deprive the father, does not leave him out not to be responsible over this child. Because you find that some of the Muslim men, they take advantage of this. Perhaps you get into a relationship out of marriage, and then the lady happens to get pregnancy. If she gives birth to that child, then the men, we don't feel that responsibility, saying that this is an illegitimate child. Exactly. I'm not responsible over that. But that's not true.
And then there's a clause the men say in the religion, I don't know whether it's true, it's in the religion or it's a scapegoat, that a child born out of wedlock is the girl's child and the man is not responsible. Even the child should not bear the father's name.
Partly they're right, partly they're wrong. Number one, on the side of responsibility, the man, you have to be responsible. Because if you had not approached that girl, she shouldn't have given birth to that child. So you have to be responsible as a man. But when it comes now to the child bearing the name of that father, according to Islam, yes, the child should not bear the name of the father. Why? Because not to bring confusion during inheritance. Yeah.
Okay. Because that child is not supposed to inherit.
Yes.
Now the fact that he's not supposed to inherit, so the man, I mean, that's what he would use. Why would I support him? Yet he's not going to inherit me either.
But he is your biological child. You are responsible over them.
Playing the devil's advocate, maybe it was a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm playing the devil's advocate in this case. Maybe it was just a mistake, so why should I be victimized?
No, you have to, because these are the consequences of your actions. They are consequences of your actions.
Interesting.
No.
Mr. Mwiruri, I mean, you being in that office, I'm sure you've seen a lot of cases. I remember even when I called you, you were handling a case. And from this Research Kenya Demographics and Health Survey, read that 55% of children in Kenya live with both parents. Only 55% of children in this country live with their parents. Why is this the case? Why are we having this very extremely low figures?
Well, I may go back to what Jamila has said, that the fact that we have a generation of men and women who at a certain point, women were much more empowered and we invested a lot in the girl child at the disadvantage of the boy child. It means that the access to resources and employment among the boy child who are now men now, they don't have access to resources, and therefore first they cannot manage a family. They are heads of the family fine, but they don't have the resources. Secondly, that some women have decided they can have their child and be on their own, and they are capable and they are doing that very well. Then the other point is violence. You know, when you become violent, nobody's going to eat and be killed in the house just to be called a wife. So that's why you find that about 45% of the families you find, and the 45% are single family headed by women, not by men. So
45%.
Yeah, the 45. The presumption is that it's the women who are heads of that family.
Okay. Often than not, when we are talking about negligence for as far as parenting is concerned, most of the time we usually assume the father is the one missing in action.
Yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes not. But negligence can be defined in quite a number of ways.
Okay.
One, there are families that there are women who are negligent, they will not take care of their children.
Yes.
And sometimes they are very, very, very aggressive. We'll have them in our office and they'll say that I don't want anybody taking care of my child, but at the same time, they are rocking the children inside the house and disappearing over a long period of time.
Just
Then-
to add on that, sorry for cutting you short, still the survey done by the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey, at least 3.7% of fathers are living with their children, only, with their mothers missing, and they were alive. This is in Western region.
Also in Nairobi and also other parts, including Central and the Coast, you find that there are men who are quite responsible. They will stay with their children. You find somebody like another case I was handling, somebody has disappeared to Mombasa for the holiday for a week. Nobody knows. You see the photos on social media, and the man is there struggling. You move to court to get custody of the children so that you're able to take, because when somebody comes home and they're intoxicated, then you don't want them to have access to the children. But that's a small percentage. The bigger percentage of persons taking care of the children are the women, and they have a huge burden and a heavy one for that.
Because they're over-empowered. So, I mean, and the boy child has been forgotten.
It's not always the
so,
case.
I mean, I'm playing the devil's advocate in this case.
It's
because,
not
it's
not always the case.
I have to play the boy child's advocate in this case. Because we are less empowered. We don't have employment opportunities. Some have desires that cannot be controlled. And
it's a small percentage. It's not always the case. You find that women have huge, like, including when you have that parental agreement arrangement, and you agree, well, the man will pay the school fees and pay the NHIF card and provide a small maintenance fee.
Okay.
Then you realize that the lady will have to pay for the house help, will have to pay for the shopping, will have to take care of the emotional religious and all that responsibility that lies with taking care of a child on a daily basis. And it's not a small thing to do. It's costly, both financially and in terms of time. So I guess we need to kind of rework and re-engineer our society, cure what has gone wrong, and for men, both men and women, to take responsibility for their children. Because when you move around and you find children, you can easily tell a child who is not well taken care of at home, a child whose both parents are not agreeing.
Lovely. We're going to have Miss Angela, who's a youth leader, will be joining us later on in the segment to talk about how it feels like to grow in a single parent kind of a family. Miss Jamila, you've handled some of these cases, and why do you think men would neglect their responsibilities, from the reasons or excuses, whatever you may decide to call them? Why would they neglect the responsibilities and duties?
Okay, for me professionally, when we look at the basic unit of the family, the mother and the father, the mother is basically the nurturer, the one who nurtures the child from conception to pregnancy to delivery. And the man traditionally was to go out and be the breadwinner and bring the bread home. Now, when people now separate or become single for whatever reason, divorce, separation, they're not agreeing, you'll find that most men, it's easier for them to walk out because the mother is the nurturer. It's easier for a man to just pick his things and it's easier for him to walk out, as opposed to the woman walking out being she's the nurturer. For maybe the first few years of a child, they stay with the mother for purposes of breastfeeding and bringing up of the child. So it's easier. You find it easier for the man to walk out. And once he walks out, it's a little bit hard for him to come and now take his children away and be the nurturer. But there are cases where we have different cases where women just walk out. And you find the man is left grappling between the child and his mother or another woman to come and help him bring up the child. But we're not saying that it's a blanket that all the time men
the
walk
question
out.
is still, why would they do that? Why would I sit comfortably not taking care of my children. I'm being informed that we need to pay our bills right now, so we're going to hold on that thought. Yes, the question is still burning inside me. You want to hear that question? Don't go away, because you're going to be back after this very short break.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Take Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah show, only on Horizon TV.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. You are watching the Sabah show. Keep it locked right here on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amani juu yako mtazamaji. Wanakuita wanatambua kama Mariam Mwacharo. Unatizama the Sabah show.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Thank you so much, Saida Abud, Asante Sana. And we are talking about roles of parenting. I mean, the negligence aspect where parents just decide to walk out and don't want to hear about their children anymore. What might be the reason? And we were asking you, Ms. Jamila, from your interactions with the people who are in this particular case, talk about the parents, of course, who are directly involved in this. What are the reasons as why one would just walk out, particularly the man who's usually on the receiving end most of the times? What are the reasons as to why he might decide to walk out and don't want to hear anything about the mother, the child, sorry?
Okay, in most cases, there's a lot of frustration when it comes to the men. And a lot of what we'd call low self-esteem and low confidence, especially when your wife or your spouse seems to have more resources than the man has, makes the decision without consulting the man. So the man feels, where is his place here? There's no place here. So frustration, he doesn't have the resources, she has the resources. You know, the parental roles are still there, but his hands are tied. You remember we left the boy child, eh? So she has the resources, she has the money. He's frustrated. He's not being acknowledged in as much as he doesn't have the resources. So she's doing the nurturing and the bills as well.
So he might walk out of frustrations.
Yes, yes.
Is it justified to do that, Sheikh?
No, he's not. Because, you see, whatever that is happening between the two adults, you see the child is very innocent.
But again, you have the resources and you're not giving me a peaceful stay inside this house. The essence of marriage is tranquility, and I'm not getting it.
You see, as a man, always the first person responsible over that child when it comes to giving those resources that you're talking about. Even if that lady earns more than you, or if she's owning more resources than you, still as a man, that does not leave you out. You see, walking out does not help. You're not thinking about that child. Try to consider the feelings of that child that you're walking out on.
Wow. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. You clearly said something, Mr. John Miruri, about the future of these kids after they've been neglected, you know, and a research done at the industrial area, that is by Transforming Nations. It's an organization within Nairobi that did this research. 78% of inmates within industrial area prison are people who came from single parenting. They were raised by their mothers and their fathers were not anywhere to be seen. And you also mentioned that you deal with street kids. Might this be a reason for that, the negligence in parenting?
Yeah, actually, one of the reasons why you have so many children in the streets is because one person alone may not be good enough to take care of, say, this number of young people in the house. And especially when the boy child attains the age, becomes an adolescent, then it is not very easy to manage them. And you find it is very difficult. In the beginning, the mother and the boy are very tight with each other when he's still a child. But as he grows up, at 12, 14 years, now he starts behaving in a way that the mother may not be able to manage. And sometimes I'm not very sure about the research because I don't know, maybe 78% is quite a high number, so I don't know the source of the...
Funny enough, actually, in Nairobi West prison indicates 72%.
Yeah, so maybe we may need to look at it again, but, well, the truth of the matter is that most of the children we meet out there in the streets, most of them come from single parent-headed households, which actually when you talk about a single parent, you're talking about a single mother. And they're good. They take care of their children. It's not easy. As Jamila has said earlier on, the thing is that women may be empowered. They may have the resources, but also we could also agree here that men have also taken to too much drinking and being irresponsible. So you find a man, like say a teacher, if you allow me, because we handle their cases, both the man and the wife are teachers, and the man abandons the family. One is a secondary school teacher, the other one is a primary school teacher. This one who is earning more abandons the family and moves to another family. So the thing is, we need to look at what is the problem. Men have taken to, these serial marriages and arrangements where they have one wife here, another arrangement there, and like among the Christian community, where divorce is not so easy, people are able to enter small arrangements here and there, and that is where their money is going. So it's the end of the month, it's time to pay the house rent and to do the shopping. He's asked for money, there's no money, and he becomes violent. So there are issues there. Of course, as Jamila said, there are issues of self-esteem, and sometimes some men don't have resources, but also we have a big percentage of men who have resources and who have decided to neglect their families.
How true is it that some ladies take advantage of this? Remember we said first we're going to have Miss Angela Atieno who will be joining us and giving us the youth's perspective of this whole topic that you're talking about. So how true is it that some ladies take advantage of the situation, to extort money from their exes, people that they've separated with?
Well, like we talked about the lady having the resources and the man not having the resources. And when you go to court and you have all this, the man is supposed to pay an X number of amount of money towards X number of children. And the lady has the resources, but because she says it's his responsibility, I'll take advantage of that. So let him pay his X amount of money. And most of them will extort it like, you give me the money, I'll give you the child. Or I'll give you access to the child. If you don't give me X amount of money, I don't give you access to the child. So you'll find that fight. There's no written rule that if he gives the money, he gets the child. But you'll see women extorting that if you give me access to the money, then I'll give you the
So they're
child.
basically taking advantage of that.
Yes, they're taking
Chef
advantage
Ratib, I
of
just want
that.
to bring you in with some case that happened. You've said, yes, it's still the responsibility of a man. Yes, and that's given, that's taken. What about the lady, on the other hand? Does she have any responsibility over the child after separation? Because I remember this case, just to back it up, my previous question, this lady goes to court because she's separated with this man who holds a big position in some big bank in the country, and she's incited that, you know, when you go there and report this matter at the bank, you're going to be given at least 50% of your salary to cater for your needs. And she was even demanding that the man pays her rent to get the kid. Does the lady hold any responsibility in raising up the child?
Okay, yes, when it comes to Islam, you see the custody of the child is normally given to the mother in cases whereby if the child is below age of 7. Any child below the age of 7, the custody must go to the mother. So she becomes what? She has to take care of that child.
That's in Islam?
In Islam, yes.
Okay.
But still, even if the custody is with the mother, the father still has to give up the maintenance of that child, be it in form of education, the health, even the place to stay. It is the responsibility of the father. Now for the mother, yes, she's also responsible because she's the one looking after that child, but the maintenance has to come from the father.
100% maintenance coming from the father?
Yes.
Assuming that they were living together, with the 100% coming, would the 100% come from the father?
For the sake of that child, it has to come from the father.
My goodness, Sheikh.
Not unless, here Faisal, listen.
Yes.
Not unless if the mother goes again and remarries,
yes.
Now that's the time it can be reduced. But before she remarries, still the responsibilities of the father.
But Faisal, 100% doesn't mean like if he's paying school fees, it's 100%, medical 100%. But the lady is also nurturing the child, as Jamila said. They go for sure 100%.
No,
they go
now
for all
see,
these things.
For the lady, where she comes in to offer the emotional
exactly.
support,
which is also 100%.
The emotional support. Okay. But whatever that you can do with that child while he is under your care, you as the father, even if the child is with that mother whom you are separated with, still you have to be responsible.
Okay, interesting. So, what if I take the child at the age of 7? The age of 7, you said according to Islam up to the age of 7. So I take the child up to the age of 7.
Yes.
Will she be giving 100% of financial?
Who to give the 100%?
The lady now, the mother.
No.
And I'll be giving 100% emotional support.
No. When it comes to the material support, it has to come from the father.
Whether I'm with the child or not?
Yes.
My goodness. Boy child under siege.
It's not really. It's not really.
But on the other side, when there is what, like when you file the case in court, it's not always the father paying. There is, you file the bill of means. So like, if the lady is earning more, then the court may order that the lady pays more. Are we together? So you may move to court and sue for child support and maintenance. And then when you file the bill of means, and it is established that the lady is earning a lot and the man doesn't earn, and then the magistrate will determine the matter in favor of the
So the back lies with the court at the end of the day?
With the court, yes.
Okay, interesting. I'm still here to get another reason apart from frustrations, and that's why I'm asking you to keep tweeting, keep on sending your feedback on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Remember, you're also streaming live on YouTube. What do you think are some of the reasons as to why people would neglect their blood? Yes, we've been told about frustrations, yes. Maybe the husband or the wife is bringing in frustrations, yet marriage is supposed to be a place where you get the tranquility. If you don't get it, you just walk out. And it's sad that at times people divorce both the wife and the child, or the children. Quite sad. Anyway, moving on. How do you restore dignity back into the society now that we are looking at the family being the basic unit of the society? And this is what we are looking at. Some ladies, some single mothers went online and opened this group to name and shame these fathers who have neglected their responsibilities. So how do you restore back dignity into the society and bring back the sacredness of the family and marriage?
Okay, like we said in the beginning, the basic social unit of society is the family. What defines a family? It defines a man, a woman, and the children. That is the family. So when we start having what we are calling deadbeat parents, a deadbeat father, a deadbeat...
The word I didn't want to use.
A deadbeat mother, because we also have deadbeat mothers. It's not just the father thing. We need to go back and realize that from the very beginning, even in the holy books, in the Quran, in the Bible, everywhere, it started from the man and the woman, and then the children. That is what a family is.
Okay.
Though there are people who are coming up with ideas that they can become single parenthood, I'm not saying that single parenthood is not something to look forward to, but initially it started from a man, a woman, and the children. And even if you bring up a child with one parent, there will be some component that the child will be feeling that they are missing, because they're missing the opposite sex, whatever sex it is, of the parent. And they'll have to look for ways to filling that void. You find these people who come from single parenthood, they start looking for ways to filling that void of the parent that is missing, of the opposite sex.
Wow.
So we need to go back to our books. We need to go back and pick up the boy child from where we left him.
Okay.
And I don't know, catch up in some way and educate people. There's no, like I say, there's no school of marriage. But we can have seminars, we can have workshops that actually the mother-father-children thing is actually the basic unit of society. It cannot change. It's not going to change.
Interesting. Sheikh Ratib, what would be your final word maybe to those parents, either the mother or the father, who neglect their responsibilities? Quite briefly. Just
Okay, I think they need to be reminded about their responsibility. They have to be religious enough, and also the religious leaders need to create this awareness. Talk about this in open, telling the parents that these are your responsibilities. Another thing also, before they get to become parents, they also have to be educated, to be taught that this is what you expect in this marriage, and these are going to be your responsibilities.
Where do we get those teachings?
From the Quran, they're there. From the religious institutions.
Do you have institutions where I can go and be taught about?
Yes, like here we have the FRC.
Okay.
FRC is here. They can be cancelled.
Interesting.
On marriage counseling.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Perfectly fine. And that's how we wrap up this second segment of this Sabah Show Roundtable. We're talking about roles of parenting. Madam Jamila says deadbeat parents. I don't want to say that. Let's come back after the break.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Take Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. You are watching the Sabah Show. Keep it locked right here on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amani juu yako mtazamaji. Wanakuita wanatambua kama Mariam Mwacharo. Unatizama the Sabah Show.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
That was a good surprise, Saida. Thank you so much for that. Yes, and we are joined by Angela Atieno, who's a youth leader as well, and will be giving us more insights from the youth that she has interacted with. What it feels like to grow up in a single mother or single father, or maybe single parenting in a nutshell, basically kind of a family. Miss Angela, thank you so much for making time to be here with us.
Pleasure is all mine.
Okay. Nice. So we were talking about negligence for as far as parenting is concerned. And another new aspect, maybe just bring us in from your interaction with the different youth that you're leading in your organization, what it feels like to grow up in a single parenthood kind of a family.
Thank you very much. I'm Atieno Angela, a youth advocate. I've interacted with a lot of youths who have grown up in a single parenting home. And most of the challenges, there's always, most of them always tell me they feel like blaming that parent whom they live with. They feel if you're living with your mom, you always feel like all the problems, every issues you're passing through, it's her that makes you to pass through all those problems.
You always feel a connection between your problem and your parent.
Yes.
That you're living with.
No, for
not
me,
the one who left.
No, not for me. I'm saying some of the testimonies I've
that
had.
he or she is living with, not the one who left.
Not the one who left, but the one who's living with. Maybe they feel that the one who's living with is the one who made the father to leave. For example, if they're living with the mom, they say like, maybe the mom is the cause. At sometimes you find the mom is the cause, and most of the children blame the one who they're living with. They feel like you should have talked to the father or the mom, the one who left now, to like stay. Why did you let the other parent go, and me staying with this one parent at home?
Interesting.
And some others have that sense. They lose the other parent figure. Like, I don't have a father. The father is not in me. For me as a woman, I'll say I'll need my dad around to like tell me, when you go out, these are the things that you should do when a guy, when a man or any other boy child should touch you in this suggestive way, come and report it back to me. Like there is no man at home to advise me or to guide me on the things I should know if I'm not done by a man, these are the ways I should react. So I'm lacking that father figure at home. They feel that sense of lacking something in their lives.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Madam Angela Atieno. And maybe I just ask you, from your interaction, what do you think, what do you observe it's coming at vividly, outwardly, that they're missing, or maybe they're not so good at? Is it emotional, be it emotional, social, physical, mental? What's coming out to be missing in them?
For the most people I've been around with, I think it really affects their mental health and their courageousness around people. You might find I might have the courage to speak or to tell stories about my mom and dad or doing this and this, or we went somewhere. But when I'm saying such a story, when I'm near someone who is raised with one parent, it really affects them. They don't have the courage to speak in front of people concerning any issues, any home issues, that maybe we have a topic maybe in a conference that's talking about parents. They won't be free to like give their views on how good parenting is.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Mr. Mururi, maybe I bring you in. Yes, we've talked about parents' negligence and stuff, and you being an advocate for children's rights in the country, you've interacted with quite a number of street kids, the same way I have done within Nairobi on the streets, of course. Every time they stop me and we just have a little discussion, a little conversation. At times it happens that the child just decides to walk out.
Yeah. So
in such a situation, who exactly do we point the finger at?
Well, as we've always said, and it is in the Constitution, Article 53, that the parents have a responsibility of their child, but also responsibilities go with obligations. So you provide for your children on one hand, and they have an obligation to also do what is right. So if a child is supposed to be in school, they are supposed to go to school. They're supposed to do their homework. They're supposed to do like the home cleaning and all that. So, and if the child is not being abused at home, like physically or emotionally, they don't have any reason to run away from home and disappear, say like into town, or like you see like when the schools are closing, how the young people are behaving when they are leaving school, changing uniform and partaking to drugs and substances of abuse. So also a child has a responsibility to do what is right at the right time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So basically it's, I mean, the question still remains, who do we actually point, where does the buck stops? For as far as
there are certain points that the responsibility lies with the child, because you cannot tether your child at home like, say, a goat.
Okay.
So if the child is left at home, like I leave my daughter at home or my son at home, and they decide, well, this is not the place I want to be, and I want to be out there, and then you follow them up, and you actually even take them to a lady like Jamila, who is a counselor, and they are spoken to, and they still decide we are going out there. Then an effort is made by an institution like the one I work for, maybe the government, and the child is reintegrated back home and they don't want to stay at home. Those are the kind of people, again, you find in industrial area, because over a period of time, there are people whose maladjusted behavior may not change so fast until they go through certain processes. So you may not blame the parents 100%. As Angela said, some children will blame their parents for certain things. Maybe they are right or they are wrong, but you may not blame your mother because your father left you, because you don't know what happened. You are lucky to be having your mother because she ran away. Maybe if she never ran away, you and your mother would be dead. So sometimes it's not easy to pinpoint who exactly to blame, because some parents are so loving to a point that maybe their children become spoiled.
Okay, interesting. Thanks so much. Ms. Jamila, at times it happens that someone, either of the parent, wants to really cooperate and take part in the child's life, but again, on the other hand, the demands given by the party, the custodian of the child, it is so much that he or she feels the pressure. He can't take it. He or she can't take it. If the father is the one in custody of the child, then the mother is demanding quite much. Oh, the father rather is demanding quite much, and the mother wants to support, and vice versa, where the mother is the custodian and she's demanding quite a lot. And the father feels frustrated, so all the same, he just decides, let it go. Potele ambani. Acha yende. How do you do in such a case?
Okay, I'm thinking you're talking in a situation where they are co-parenting.
Yes, co-parenting.
And the mother's demands are rather high.
Above the roof.
Above what the man is able
Yes.
to. Unfortunately, in most cases, you'll find they'll walk away. Because whatever little they have is not being appreciated. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Whether you're giving 1 shilling or 5 shillings or whatever you're giving, maybe you're giving emotional support. Maybe you're giving intellectual direction. Maybe not even financial. Maybe at financial you're at 0. But if you're not appreciated, let me give even the case of an animal. If the animal comes home, you feed it, you give it, you treat it nicely, it will stay. If you keep kicking it, it will go. So the human being is the same way. If you don't appreciate them, they will walk away.
So what does the man do in such a case? I want to really support, but it's not being appreciated. The demands are beyond my my limits, and I can't handle it, basically.
In my experience, what I have experienced in this kind of cases, the man may choose to walk away until a certain time when the woman or the child will look for him. Because what happens in this case is when the child reaches the identity crisis age, they start looking for the opposite sex parent.
Okay.
Even if the mother is providing everything, at some point you'll feel the child telling you, I want to know where my father is.
I want to meet him.
I want to know where my mother is. And in these cases, I always tell the parent, let the child go and meet the opposite sex parent. Because they need to understand where their roots are coming from. Maybe they think it would be better off with their opposite sex parent. But they will reach that. The identity crisis is about maybe just above adolescence. Identity crisis where they want to identify
themselves
with somebody.
Yes.
They want to give themselves an identity.
Yes.
They will look for their parent.
Which
Whether
is a process.
the parent worked out, yes.
Interesting. Miss Angela Tieno, now we've looked at the effect of single parenting. We've looked at what it's likely to cause in this. We've looked at different ways that we can try and salvage this situation. From your perspective, maybe as we are winding up, what do you think needs to be done by who to restore back dignity into our society?
Thank you. If you're a single parent, that is. Okay. if you're a single parent, I think
Generally, what needs to be done structurally? We're looking at the bigger picture now. Is it the government? Is it parents? Is it religious institutions? Who needs to do what to bring back sanity and see even if people are co-parenting, then it's being done in a swift manner?
I think the bigger deal here is the religious leaders. I can say, like, our African country, we are too religious. You can find there Muslims and Christians.
Okay.
So I would like the religious leaders to come in and help out the single parents. Those who, you might find most of these single parent cases are from breakups, or someone was married and the husband was disturbing, or the mother. So the pastors and the sheikhs, they should come in and try and advise the single parents on how to nurture and to raise a boy or a girl, instill that single parenthood, not to feel depressed, because many parents feel depressed, many parents have a lot of stress, and I think they should consult their religious leaders if any issue arises, or as she has said, she's a counselor, you should go and seek further advice from the counselors too. They too play a big role in that.
Interesting. Thank you so much. Mr. John Miruru, as we are winding up, maybe you can tell us, what does your organization, how can it help? How can one seek help through your organization for as far as solving this menace is concerned?
One is that we work right in the middle of the community, so we train parents and communities on rights of children. But over and above that, we also provide mediation services to families in conflict, men and women, referred to us by the Directorate of Children Services offices in the neighborhood and in the country. And at times we also move to court when it is necessary, when parties cannot agree. But the most important thing that where we could, as Angela has said, where we could really have a foundation to cure what Madam Jamila said earlier on, is if we could take it upon ourselves, like in the competency-based curriculum,
yes,
if we could have social workers and counselors, not a guidance and counseling teacher, but a counselor who is strictly not teaching and a social worker who is not teaching, so that they are able to identify children who have issues, because we are looking at Kenya like 200, 300 years to come, and we are looking at us being there through the children, our grandchildren. So we have people who will be able to identify the problem and help assist in curing and getting back those people in the mainstream of society. Again, the religious leaders, the sheikhs, the bishops and the churches in general, they need to have these programs on continuous basis and be very, very clear on what should happen. It should be made very, very impossible for divorce. Tarak should not be easy. Similarly, divorce should not be easy. You know, no man should be abandon his family, and then including the deadbeat parents group. You know, if a man, if I move out of my house today, I'll move to another lady's house. Who is to blame? It's both of us. So ladies should also be, and also men, should be discouraged from moving out of their homes to other homes. You know, if we re-engineer our society within that kind of framework, then we'll be able to move forward. Education is very important. Also practice and also enforcement of the law. You know, fast tracking children matters and issues related to children, and always considering the best interest of the child will be very important in solving the problems that we are faced with. As an organization, we are always ready to do the mediation through ourselves and also the pro bono advocates we have across the country. So if somebody has an issue, it is of course free of charge.
How do we find you?
We will always get us on actionchildren.or.ke.
Actionchildren.org.
Yeah, that's our website, actionchildren.or.ke, and our number is 0722 753 137, and an alternative number where you can send a message.
Would you mind just to repeat that number, and then I'll translate it in Swahili? 07
Sufuri Saba.
Just say in English, I'll repeat in Swahili.
0722
Sufuri Saba Mbili Mbili
753
Sabah 53
137
137.
And when you go to our website, it
Yes.
is interactive. You can ask any question you have that is relates to children, women, and the law, and an issue you have, and we'll be able to answer you within like 5-6 hours. We'll be able to respond and to give you directions online.
Wow, amazing. Digitalizing everything, yeah? Madam Jamila, maybe your parting shot as we are winding up the show.
For me, like what Angela was saying, that and also John Moirori, that for those who are in marital situations, divorce is not always an answer. There should be a lot of education from our religious leaders. There's help from the counselors. That, you know, everybody always thinks the grass is greener on the other side. When you're single, you think if you're married, it will be greener. When you're married, you think when you're single, it becomes greener. It doesn't. Even the people who are single, the people who are divorced, they have their own challenges. Once you cross that divorce maybe bridge, it's kuna changamoto uko pia. You know, there are issues there that you need have to deal with. So like what John Moirori is saying, we should not always think that if there is a problem in marriage, the only solution is to walk out. Our parents, why did they stay together? Because they didn't work out. Working out for them was not an option. We try until we can no longer. There's some, of course, that are really, really bad. Those ones, then we advocate you work out. But there's those ones that we can, most of them we can actually go through counseling, go through mentors, and they can be assisted.
Wow, interesting. Angela, parting shot, very quickly, as we are winding up. Parting shot, your last words.
Thank you. I would like to tell the single parents who are out there, being in a single parenthood is not a disability. Same to the children who are raised up with the single parents. And for me, my dad and my mom had issues, but I stood up in my family. And because my father is my best friend, I talked to my dad to stop drinking, to stop having these bad behaviors at home. So if you are a child at home and you know that one parent that favors you is the one maybe who's wronging at home, try and talk to your parent, and you can make that change to help solve this single parentalhood at a large community. Yeah.
Wow. So you can stand up as a child.
Yeah, you can stand up as a child and help your family. Stop always blaming one parent. You have a voice. I think you have a voice in your family because both of them too made you. They are still your blood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Amazing. Wisdom spilling out right here at the roundtable discussion. Aisha Khan, is this the kind of wisdom you get every Friday? Maybe we might have to discuss this. You give me every Friday morning and I give you Friday evening at the live real talk. Anyway, nonetheless, we're still going to be having a live real talk this evening where we'll be talking about competence-based curriculum. Amazing discussion right here this morning at the roundtable discussion. We were talking about roles of parent. Where did we lose it? And we've seen it. We've had it. 22951 was the SMS line, and let's keep this conversation going. I'll finish by this. A friend of mine, after a very long story, a very ugly situation, told me. His name is Ahmed Papa. He told me, Faisal, a man takes full responsibility whether good, bad, or ugly. I repeat, a man takes full responsibility whether good, bad, or ugly. That's how we wrap up the roundtable discussion. I have been your host, Faisal Qasim, and see you in the evening when we'll be talking about competence-based curriculum. Assalamu alaikum.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.